A doctor?
You are the doctors.
A lawyer?
Objection! Sustained.
No further questions.
A detective?
A low self-esteem, tiny IQ, and a limited life expectancy, and you think he's an audacious criminal mastermind.
Or a chef?
Guys, big night tonight. You all know what's happening? Yeah?
Who do you want to be? And what if it's a bit more complicated in picking a job or an industry? Today I will share with you 10 questions that will help you find a job that's right for you. Yes, you've heard me. We will talk about your working style, your strengths, and your values. And based on the answers, what job would make sense? I'll share with you the questions, I'll give you a bit more context, I'll dive into my previous jobs. I've worked in tech, in consulting, in the traditional industry. So 3 completely different roles. All to help you find a job that's right for you. And before you commit, answer those nagging questions in your head. Will I be any good at it? Will I even like it? Do I even have a chance? My name is Kinga, this is Press Pause, and I'm so excited for today's episode, and I am even more excited that you're here. Let's do it! Looking for a job is a bit like dating. Sure, you want to show your best self, but you also want to understand if the job can give you what you're looking for. You're going to spend a lot of time, and I'm talking decades here, and a lot of energy working, so it better be a good decision. And I hear you. Sure, you want to be a lawyer. You're going to make your parents so proud. You're going to earn so much money, so I've heard. It looks great, I mean great on TV. And you're going to do some good in the world. Of course you want to be a lawyer, I want to be a lawyer. But what if after all this time, spending money and time studying, you realize 3 things? A, you're really bad at handling conflict. B, you're terrible at negotiating. And I mean, you just want to run away, leave all the money on the table, you cannot deal with that. And 3, you really don't have enough patience to deal with clients all day long. So what do you do then? Today, we're unpacking the big black box. What job would be right for you? In 10 questions. And the idea here is not to be 100% compatible. Perfect match. The idea here is to understand what are the gaps and if you're okay taking the risk. So, if you're this lawyer, if you're okay spending a lot of time learning how to negotiate well and don't leave all your money on the table. And if you're thinking to yourself, Kinga, we're in the middle of the pandemic right now, I really don't have 20 jobs lining up, I really can't be picky. It's fine. Use those questions to prepare for the interviews, to write a great cover letter. So that instead of answering, oh, I really want this job and I'll be great at it, you really give 3 perfect, no BS reasons why you are a perfect match for this job. So let's do it.
You're not hearing me. It's not going to say hello.
Fix it.
Fix it?
Yeah.
In 40 minutes?
Fix it.
I can't.
Questions. Let's dive into question number 1, which is deadlines. Do you typically race against the clock to finish something, or do you work and plan ahead? So think about it. If you are a student, how do you typically prepare for exam? Are you an all-nighter type? Meaning, right before the deadline, you know the exam is tomorrow, you just sit down, cram everything in your head, 15 coffees, bam, you're ready for the exam. Or would you typically think, okay, I have 5 weeks, 10 topics, every week, 2 topics, I'll take notes, I'll study, I'll get everything done, and I'll be ready. But you do it really in a more structured, in a more timely way, because you know that the night before the deadline, you just want to sleep. How did it go for you? And now think about the job. Would it be project-based or event-based? Or will you be working a lot with external clients? Or it will be more of a seasonal job. So let's assume summer or holidays, very busy, rest of the year, quite slow. All of those things mean that your job is going to have the deadlines. And if you like it or not, something will go wrong and you'll be under a lot of pressure in certain times. So if you are this all-nighter type, projects or events might be a job for you.
You said 5 rules, that was only 4.
Rule number 5, when I move, you move.
Get out of my way!
Question number 2, structure. Do you like having predictable rhythm, or do you feel energized by change? So think about bigger changes in your life. Moving to a new city, starting new school, new internship, new job, can be even starting a new school year. Are you typically super excited for all those changes, for all those new chapters to begin? Or do you feel like, okay, I know I have to ease into this, not sure if I like it, but in a couple of weeks when I know this is how my Monday looks like, this is how my morning looks like, or evening, I'll feel more comfortable and I'll feel way more at ease. For instance, you tell me, Kinga, let's sign up for a 6 a.m. gym every single day. I'll be super excited to start. I won't be. Let's assume I'll be super excited to start with it. But after a couple of days or after a couple of weeks, I'll be like, not sure I like it, maybe we can skip it sometimes. But I know that other people will say, first week we'll really have troubles waking up and going to a gym. But after some time, they'll be like, okay, I really like it. I see results. I'm really pumped. I figure out my mornings. So what kind of person are you? And then let's flip it. When you think about the job, will it be a kind of established team, established product, kind of a team, a product that your mom would know? Or would she say what? What are you going to do? Haven't heard about it. If you're going to work for a team or for a product that is already mature, there will be probably some structure to it. Probably. If you're going to work for a brand new team, let's assume a super disruptive tech company, chances are your product, brand new product, you have to figure things out. And this means that everything you're doing, all the priorities will be shifting. And you might be doing one thing this Monday, next thing another Monday. And if you're a person that really likes structure and like knowing, okay, here's what has to happen, you're not going to like this kind of job.
This is a little overwhelming, but if you want to grow the business, you got to play the game.
Maybe I don't want to play the game. Maybe I don't want to grow the business.
Number 3, toward versus away. And this one is a big one for me. So the question here is, you have 2 projects to choose from. Which one would you rather work on? Project 1, how to attract top talent to your company. Project number 2, how to retain top employees within the company. You have retention problems. What do you do? Which one would you go for? You can play with other options. The idea here is that every single person will have a preference. Do you prefer to look for new opportunities? How do we gain, increase? Or do you like solving the problems? So typical thing, how do we cut costs? How do we cut time? And now think about your job. So if you think about your job and your team, which side would it be on? You can also think, will it be on the main side of the business, which probably means driving revenue, or on the supporting side, which very often will add to costs? And a great example here is, for instance, if you're in the sales team, then the main objective of sales team is to sell, drive revenue, which is the toward. If you're on the support side, very often the objective of the support team is to do things faster and cheaper.
Hellstrom, it must be said, clearly took it rather hard. Didn't speak to Harmon afterwards.
4, competition. Do you like to compete against others? Or do you typically compete against yourself? You can think about sports or school. You can also think, what makes you more excited? The fact that you were better than 3 or 4 other people, or the fact that you beat your own expectations? And now think about the job. Number 1 is, will there be a very clear target assigned to this job? Something that can tell you, I've done an excellent job or I've done an awful job. And the second thing, will you be joining a pool of people doing a very similar job? Meaning, it's quite easy to say, how are all of you doing? So for instance, sales job for someone who likes competition will be great. A, you typically will have a number of sales reps doing a similar job, and B, you are going to have a very clear revenue target. So every day you can say, okay, I'm doing an excellent job or I'm really terrible at it.
Roland, I thought you said you had no problem doing grunt work.
Well, Johnny, how's it going to look to have the mayor of the town changing sheets?
5, short-term versus long-term oriented. And again, 2 projects for you to choose from. Which project would you rather work on? Number 1, 2050 product vision. Number 2, how to increase sales next quarter. And as you think about your life, what's more interesting? Are you really down-to-earth, super pragmatic person? Or do you like being in the clouds, imagining world in 20, 50 years? What sounds more appealing? And as you think about the job, 2 things. Number 1, really high level thinking about the industry. Is the industry more short-term focused or more long-term focused? So for instance, energy, aviation, very often all the projects you're talking about will be a very long-term driven. And then 2, when you dive deeper and you think about your potential team, will it be more focused on what's going to happen in the next 3 to 12 months? Or more strategic, more long-term oriented, thinking how the future will change? And that's it for today. Let me know in the comments which question was your favorite. And see you next week.